Now, let's proceed with this conversation right here on Good Morning Kenya. The government recently launched the new higher education funding. And this is a model for both scholarships and loans for students placed by the Kenyan universities and colleges' central placement services. Now, these new higher education funding, also known as the NHEF model, takes effect with the admissions of the 2022 KCSE candidates into universities and colleges for the 2023-2024 financial year. With this new funding, in this particular conversation, which I highlight one particular and important fact, that students from vulnerable and extremely needy backgrounds, they will be able to receive 100%. Get this, 100% or financial aiding, in terms of financing rather, while those from needy and less needy backgrounds will receive 93%. Let's talk about university funding for special needs students. How are they? Will it work? Is there a solution towards this? Is this the solution towards a special needs student? To help us in this conversation, ladies and gentlemen, I'm with David Karani. He is the chair of the Association of Caregivers and Parents with Children with Special Needs, also a member of the Elimu Bora Working Group. Karibu sana.
Thanks a lot.
How are you feeling, my brother?
I'm good.
You feeling well?
I'm feeling good.
Let's talk about this conversation. My name is Aguko. For those who are joining us, thank you so much for choosing KBC Channel 1. Engage with us. The hashtag, as always, is Good Morning Kenya at KBC Channel 1 and at Aguko. Now, let's talk about this education funding. Help me understand this particular model and how it plays a role, especially for special needs students.
First, I'd like to start by saying thanks a lot for having me this morning to talk about this issue. This is an issue that is on parents' minds. Yes. I think if there's an issue that is stressing parents right now, even the learners, is this new model. This new model, this new university model, most people don't understand it. The parents and also the learners. Yes. You can see the outcry out here. Every time the parents are asking for more information, the learners are also asking for more information.
And that's why we're here today, because we need to understand the model, and is it something that can help our families today, considering the economic times? You know, we need help. This government is a hustler nation government.
Yeah,
you know.
I think where we are at the moment is, I can say, it's a good proposal, but there's a but.
There's a but.
There's a but.
You started off well. You started off well. It's a good proposal.
It's a good proposal, but we need to set up good mechanisms to support the proposal. Because now you see, even the best of even the best of intentions can be misused. So we are saying, here it is. It was launched by the president on 3rd of 2023. Already it's running. How? As in, can we ask where are the models when we're asking about the vulnerable, the poor? Who determines who is vulnerable? Who determines who is poor? What are the models that are going to be used to determine the backgrounds, the vulnerability of this family? Although for persons with special needs, coming from that background of learners with special needs and having a lot of interest in this, I'm thinking this is the way to go, where learners with special needs will be given 100% scholarships to be able to go to universities. But we're asking ourselves, university, I think, is the highest when it comes to education. People start from as low as nursery school when it comes to formal education. People start at nursery school. For us to have learners at university, we need to put the investment early. Now,
before we head over there, let me take you a few steps back. You mentioned the funding, and you were looking at the criteria being used towards it. From where you sit, what's your understanding about this funding model and how it trickles down to their understanding of Kenyans watching us today?
So this model has been broken down to the vulnerable,
yes,
the extremely needy, the needy, and the less needy. However, we don't know how this will be now placed. But what we know is that the vulnerable will be getting 100% government support.
Yes, yes.
The extremely needy will have to do with a bit of help, and the needy and the less needy. So when you look at for tuition, they are suggesting they'll have 53% scholarships, and then they'll have 40% loans, and the household will have to pay 7%. However, most people, most parents, and also the learners, they don't understand now what is the government support, what is the loans, and how, as in they don't understand. You're being given a broken down, you're being given a fee structure, but it's not broken down what government is giving you, what you're supposed to get in loans, and what you're supposed to pay. We are seeing parents being stranded. If you see what is happening at KU at the moment, parents are going there and they're being stranded. We've seen the Honorable Minister Machogu saying that no learner will be left out. Just roadside declarations. Is there any form of writing that actually these parents can actually say, we've been, even a gazette notice, to actually instruct these universities that you should not let any learner go home if they don't have fees. So this is just a declaration, but is there any document?
But you know, the parent must also have an input towards this particular child's fee.
We're saying that is something they had already done. They're already planning, and that's where we're saying planning the short period that parents have been given, and how the whole thing has been launched and everything. It leaves a lot to be desired. But then, we needed to go back and start this from now. Data collection. These parents, who are they? These households, where are they? These learners, we start from there. If we can identify these learners, because we don't know the procedure that will be used. They're talking about the means test instruments of scientific that is going to be coming out, the model of now saying which are the families that are needy and which families are not needy. And we understand, right, at the moment in Kenya, if you ask parents to say the status of their families, everyone will say they're not doing well.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're wondering what will happen now. Those ones are in school at the moment. Now, where do we start?
Do you believe that this funding will help students with special needs?
This is the way to go for learners with special needs.
Is the way to go.
But a lot needs to be put in place to ensure that this works. When I say this, I mean we need to start the investment early.
Now, you keep on mentioning this thing, that a lot needs to be put in place. And you've mentioned investments that need to be started early from nursery level.
Yeah.
All right? Yeah. But now, from where you sit, just highlight some of these things that you feel need to be put into place. Yet you've mentioned that the funding will help students with special needs. If it will help, what more needs to be done?
I think, as I mentioned earlier, university is like the highest institution.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Now, you cannot wait for learners at the highest institution telling them there's an incentive to learn with scholarships. How many learners get there? You don't want to know how they get there. Learners with special needs have unique challenges. You'd find sometimes the challenges go back to even teachers in classrooms. Some of the learners, some of the schools for special needs learners don't have teachers. Just recently, when TSC was recruiting teachers, the JSS teachers recruit none for learners with special needs. And it's out there. When they were doing the gazette, when they were gazetting this, advertising these positions, there was none for learners with special needs.
But won't we, if we look into conversations from that angle, won't we lose the mark? Because we will be mixing in different problems, trying to give them a solution from one cup. Concerning teachers' shortage, it is an issue that is currently being addressed by government, and there are teachers that have been employed towards it. In fact, teachers are looking into a pay rise. This week, we recently had such kind of a decision that was made. Why can't we say that, yes, we have an education funding, a university funding model that can work, and let's focus on that as we address other issues that are still underlying?
We cannot start addressing that issue from the university, because that is where now all the learners who have made it from nursery school, primary school, secondary school go. If these learners don't get there, we need to understand what is the problem. Right now, if you look at the number of learners who are going to be admitted with special needs, it's very little. You can ask yourself what happened. If this learner will not get anyone to guide them, most of us are a result of teachers. Those learners who are going to university is the investment of their parents and the teachers. So we need to go back and ask ourselves, these learners with special needs, are they getting what they require to get to the universities? How can we start doing this process? We need to actually allow that these learners to be able to be given support from the word go. Since they join, every learner is given support by teachers and the parents. So we need also to actually bring it back and tell the parents with children with special needs, we are here for you. Let's work on this together.
Is there a priority list that we need to have so that we can have children with special needs, being addressed amicably? Do you have a priority list?
I think the biggest thing we can do, priority list number one, is just for parents out there, parents with children with special needs. Are there children in school? That's where we need to start. Do we identify these learners? Is there a data of learners with children with special needs? Because right now, when we're talking about the testing instruments, if we had gone back and started collecting data since the day a child joined primary school or even kindergarten, we would be now knowing, by the time they're getting to the university, we know the income of the parents. By this, it would be easy. Even self-assessment, you just go to a porthole and you'll be able to assess at what level are you. Are you in the vulnerable? Are you in the extremely needy? So it is an investment that needs to go back. We need to give it time.
Okay.
Yeah. So for learners with special needs, I think the first thing we need to do is now go back and ask ourselves, where does it start? It starts from assessment. Assessing this learner, getting to understand that this learner has needs. How is that done? It's done by a qualified assessment, a person who is qualified to do an assessment, a special needs assessment. So in the county levels, we have those EAC centers. Now, do we have enough of them? And when the parents are told, now your child has special needs, where do they start? Are these schools, do these schools have teachers? Do they have enough teachers? And do they have skilled teachers? Because you find some counties, there are counties that don't even have a single center that can actually help learners with special needs. So that is where we're coming from. And we're saying, let's have this cake that is prepared for us at the end, let's bring it now to closer and start now having the cake as we go. Because now you're being given a big cake at the university level, but how many learners get to the university level with special needs? Now,
define this aspect, 100% financing. Define that, because that's, we need to understand this particular angle here. When the government mentions 100% financing, especially for the vulnerable and extremely needy,
we are looking at a proposal that is still going on. Nobody knows how these things are working. That's why I said we need to prepare. We need to go back and ask ourselves, this is a model. We are suggesting this model. Let's stop bundling our children in a bus as we go to looking for a map. Let's first of all sit down, find a way, try and actually talk about this thing with experts. Talk about how you'll be able to identify these learners, identify these families that need support, and then go back and ask ourselves, how do we go back and try and put it now down to the Mwananchi, to the Momomboga in the villages? This government has been so vocal about Mama Mboga and the person of Boda Boda. Can the person of Boda Boda get to understand that this is how it works? Can the child who is going to university understand this is how it works? We need to also tell these learners that this 40% is a loan. It is not a grant. Are you ready? At the age of 18, are you ready to get into a financial agreement with anyone about something that is going to affect you later? We've seen institutions where you're told, come with your help clearance for you to apply a job.
From where you said, are you saying that parents need to brace themselves for tougher financial times in future, regardless of this new university funding model?
It is going to be tough because we don't know who qualifies for what. So it's just been proposed, but how it's going to be funded, nobody knows.
So should we work as if it isn't there? Should we just prepare ourselves?
No, what in short, in a nutshell, what we're telling parents is university education has just been made expensive. So if
hasn't, on the contrary, I believe it has been made lighter.
How? If you're going to be told now, for a person who was actually doing maybe medicine and surgery at the University of Nairobi, the support they were getting from government in the old model, where the differential unit cost model was being used, where they would pay 120,000 for every discipline that you're actually pursuing, has actually been changed. Now, what they are considering is different. They are considering the choice of program that you are going to be using, to be taking. They are going to look at government priority areas. What are government priority areas? Is government looking at maybe agriculture? That's where they're going to put most of the scholarship there. Is government looking into maybe issues of engineering? So when they talk about government priority areas, you're left wondering. So these things are going to be actually performance. They're going to be guided by a few things that actually will actually determine how parents are going to be doing this.
All right. Now let's go back to special needs students and the equipment that is there. From where you sit, as a country, do we have the equipment that can help teachers in terms of facilitation, in terms of learning, the teaching methodologies, for them to be able to attend to special needs students now that we have this new university funding model?
I think we're doing very well. We have Kenya Institute of Special Needs Education, which is it's ranked very high in terms of the work that it's doing, preparing also teachers to handle the learners with special needs. And I would wish to actually just commend them for the work they're doing. But now after them doing the good job, the teachers who've been trained go back to TSA and they're not reassigned to special needs schools. We have a lot of teachers who have done special needs education, but they've not been reassigned to go to a special needs school. Recently, we've just seen the promotion of 700 teachers, which is, I think, very good. It's the way we're supposed to be going now. We are starting to do the investment, to actually invest in special needs education the way it's supposed to be. We are looking at schools that we saw the other day in Kabaranet. A special needs school was being closed, which is very sad. The staff there are complaining about not being paid salaries for almost 18 months. That's almost 2 years. This is a person who's working with, under very challenging conditions. Some of them are actually ini kujitolea, as you may say. Special needs teachers, actually, they do a lot of work. And I want just to say thank you for all those in the special needs education, because sometimes they go out of their way to do. Yes, they do. Yes. They go out of their way to ensure that those learners are comfortable. But we need to actually go back and say, now, look at the schools where a learner starts. Is it free? When you tell people university will be free for learners with special needs and the vulnerable, how many get there? If we talk about maybe a child in a slum area and having special needs, those are two combinations that are lethal. Poverty and disability.
Yes.
Those are just lethal. Those will finish anyone. So are we giving these learners the priority and the support they require for them to get to university? Because even if you bake a very big cake at the university, but nobody will come and, even if you tell them it's free, but they are not able to even proceed to secondary school, it will be in vain.
So you're saying we will end up having a university funding model for students who cannot get to
cannot
university.
Enjoy. Yeah? It's just, as I said, you're giving people something, but it's not going to happen.
They won't even get there.
They won't get there. So we need to go back and ask ourselves, these ECD centers that governors are actually, the early childhood education is under the county government. How much investment is being done there to ensure that all learners can be able to enjoy the foundation? Even those learners with special needs, deaf children, blind children. And when you talk about special needs, you also talk about those children with actually who have this, they need special attention. Children with sickle cell anemia, children with diabetes, there are children who miss school half the term. So are those kind of learners being considered as special needs when it comes to now the university level?
How would you like us to categorize these groups of people? Because now, for the funding to take place, they will need, they have a system of categorizing and distinguishing those who are needy from those who are not, those who are less needy and those who are extremely needy. For special needs kids, how does it work in this particular area from where you sit? Do you have an understanding of it? I'll
just want to divert kidogo to just go to what you said. How is this thing? How are they classifying? I would wish for government to put it clear. Actually,
there is a system that has been put in place.
The system has been put there.
There is a system.
The means testing instrument. They call it means testing instrument.
Yes.
Can they come and tell parents, this is how we are doing it? When a child actually registered for KCSE, they actually registered with your ID numbers. Your ID numbers have been matched by your KRA PIN. Your KRA PIN has actually given this information. Your M-Pesa information has given us this information. Because right now you cannot only tell people, there's an informal sector. There are people who are not in the KRA database, but actually they are doing a lot of business. Can you classify everyone as needy? What is the, can we come and ask and tell Kenyans, explain to Kenyans, what makes this family needy, this family vulnerable, and put it out there so that any parent or guardian can be able to actually self-assess. And when the children go there and they're told, you're not qualifying for this, they're satisfied.
Let me highlight this, the means testing instrument and how it will be applied. It will be applied it will be scientifically determined, for them to be able to know the need levels of students. The instrument has 8 variables.
Yeah.
Okay. It's important for us to highlight this even as we talk about this, and then you'll tell me what you think about it. It has 8 variables. The variables include parents' background, gender, course type, marginalization, disability, as well as family size, composition, and my area was on disability. They're part of disability, but let me continue. By combining these variables, the plan is that the state will be able to determine the needs of the various households and fund them appropriately with these kind of variables.
That is what would have been done first.
Yes. No, that's what they're doing.
That's what they are doing, but how many people can actually say, I've gotten away, and I've gotten a system where I've been asked, what is my parents' background? The learners out there, how many have actually gone and actually declared that these are my parents' background, this is the course type that I'm going to do, this, and then they've gotten a calculation, or the system has actually generated that you guys are needy? Or not needy. We know if we can open, if this thing will open a new door to corruption. We are going to see children who are supposed to benefit, not benefit.
Help me understand this from you. You're saying, are you seeing more advantages towards this or more disadvantages?
We're saying the proposals are good, but let's go back. Let's go back and put systems in place. let's not rush.
So
These are our children, this is our system, this is our monies. Nothing, hakuna ile kitu natoka. All of us are here.
Now, for special needs students, do you feel satisfied with how they will be classified and the way they will be differentiated from one group to another?
I feel like already there's a lot being done when it comes to special needs. There's a lot, and the Council of Persons Living with Disabilities is doing a lot. Right now, a child with special needs is taken for assessment, educational assessment, and they have a way. They have cards already for those who register themselves as special needs, and it's easy for them to be identified. But we don't want to get to a point where some are going to the university and feeling like the special needs children didn't actually qualify to be there. We don't want to a point where learners with special needs don't feel comfortable. Because all of us, there's no special world for special needs. So all children, even families that are having children with children who are regular, they're going through the same problem. So we are saying, let's take it all and ensure when we're talking about this model, we talk about it wholesomely. Those learners with special needs that are there, also, when the rest are coming in, they should also feel comfortable because they're going to learn together. Even if we ensure that those learners with special needs are there, alone, it will not help the situation.
So you're looking for inclusivity?
Inclusivity. Let's also include
but then
this.
The next question will be how inclusive, to what extent?
I know it's just a very big area that you cannot narrow it down.
Now, you've mentioned corruption. And from what you're saying, I'm understanding one particular aspect is that you're saying that it is opening doors towards other issues that will need probing.
Probing.
Now, what other issues do you see coming up through this new university funding model that will be a thorn in our flesh?
We are seeing situations where you'll find children who are clearly not vulnerable, enjoying the full scholarship. You're going to see learners who come from very disadvantaged backgrounds not getting any positions there. Already, corruption has been an issue, even when it comes to issuing of CDF. There is no guidelines of who or where. That's why we're saying we need to go back, put proper legislations. If you go back to Parliament and say, this is how, when you are found out that you actually took advantage of the system, these are the penalties. We need to go back and tell people and put it in law that this is how you're going to be joining this category of people. If you're not vulnerable, this is the mechanism that is going to be used. If you're found out that you've actually gained when you didn't deserve to actually be there, it's going to be this term, or you're going to pay government this kind of penalty. So we should not work. We start working and then we now start putting laws. Laws should come before, so that we can be able to now understand these are the consequences of doing this, and this is how it should be done. So let us be guided first. Let us not rush to put our learners in institutions and then come with the law with those later. We need to actually close those doors for corruption. Do
you feel that the policies that we have currently are still insufficient?
They are very insufficient. Because right now, if you walk into any government office and say you are an orphan, is there any? You'll be asked for certificates, death certificates, and everything. Is there any way of verifying that you're an orphan and these are your parents? Besides the certificate, is there any model that government can come up with that can actually say these are orphan children, these are children who come from a background that is the mechanisms? That is what we are trying just to say. Put good mechanisms so that we don't have corruption. You know what has been happening in our country. I'll not want to use that thing when people say in Kenya, but I'll not want to say that. But I've said it. In Kenya, we know there are a lot of people who will be learning for free, and they come from very big families. So this thing is good, but let's invest more to it. Let's put it clear. But right now, there are parents who are having sleepless nights.
Do you think that students will come out to formally apply for this funding?
Already we've seen queues of learners.
Yes,
and I think
in large number, 100%.
Yeah, we are seeing very big numbers in the queues. And I think it's every parent's wish for their child to attain the highest qualification in any field that they choose to go into.
Yes, it is. But do you think they will? You mentioned there, and you are trying to bring into perspective a few minutes ago, you mentioned that will they come out? Will they all be able to benefit?
That is the question. What are the plans? And you see, we've just seen yesterday the cabinet talking about the learners who are underage.
Right.
Those who are not 18 yet.
So that is a question.
So they are making, they didn't even have plans for these learners. Yesterday is when they are deciding, let's do something for these learners. These are systems that would have been made earlier for us to be comfortable when those learners to actually transit. Because you can imagine the stress that parents are having at the moment. So yesterday, Cabinet has said those learners can actually benefit. So we're asking ourselves, you're going to get into an agreement with an underage.
All right.
A financial agreement with an underage.
Thank you so much. That is David Karani, Chairperson, Association of Caregivers and Parents with Children with Special Needs. Thank you so much for coming and airing your thoughts on this particular matter.
Thanks a lot for having me. And just for closing, I would wish to just talk to community members.
Yes.
And tell them, let's try as much as we can to be inclusive.
Right.
And also, let's look at how we can be able to be more cautious when we're dealing with persons with disability and also families that are taking care of persons with disability.
Thank you so much. And my name is Aguko. It's been a pleasure being with you. That is where we bring this conversation to a close. Very nice place to end it there. It was all about university funding for special needs students. Have you learned something? Well, this conversation doesn't end today. Still something that is ongoing. Let's keep engaging. May God bless you. May God bless the work of your hands. Keep it KBC Channel 1 for more of our programming. Have a fantastic day. My brother.